What's up, guys? Talk movies with us here, and we just saw the latest Christopher Nolan film, Dunkirk, starring Mark Rylance, Cillian Murphy, and the great Tom Hardy. Now, what is this thing about?
So Dunkirk is a true story. It's based on the beginning of World War II, where the Belgian army, the French army, and the British army are all kind of surrounded by the German army, but they're kind of cornered onto a beach. So the story of Dunkirk is about the rescue of these 400,000 men on the beach. You have the fighter planes, and then you also have the civilians who took it upon themselves, really, to use their personal boats to go across the sea and rescue the soldiers.
And this story is told in basically 3 different perspectives. Tom Hardy, obviously you see in the trailer, he's in the fighter jets. You have the 2 younger guys who are basically on ground, right? Mark Rylance. Mark Rylance takes it upon himself, like you said, and he's taking his own boat, his own family, his own kids, and he's just taking it upon himself to go look for fallen soldiers that are out at sea or stranded people, and he's trying to help out. And it's basically telling you how all these people came together as one to try to make a difference and
it tried to rescue the men off the beach. And it's actually told in three different linear timelines. One of the timelines takes place over a week, the other timeline takes place over a day, and another timeline takes place over an hour. So you have these 3 different timelines, but at the end they all kind of come together, which is very Christopher Nolan-esque. Yeah, like he's always been a master of time. You know, you have Inception, Interstellar.
Yeah. Speaking of time, with this loud ass score with the right?
Yeah, I think that
talk about time.
Hans Zimmer did a fantastic job with the score, the visuals, the cinematography. For me, it was absolutely perfect.
Oh yeah, it looked beautiful, and goddamn, this movie is loud. We saw it in IMAX, and it's one of the loudest movies I was in the theater for.
It definitely was the loudest movie I've ever been a part of. It's also the best IMAX experience I've ever had. I think it's because you literally felt like you were in this war. You were on the beach with these soldiers. You were in the water with these soldiers. You were in the air, and certain scenes were so claustrophobic that I found myself having to like hold my breath, because I was like, what the hell do I do?
I know, it's really true. Like you said, it does a great job of capturing the perspectives of air, land, and sea perfectly. Beautifully shot and just extremely loud, like we said. The actors, you know, for what they're given, they do a really good job. You know, there's not much dialogue here to speak of.
Very minimal dialogue.
Mark Rylance was fantastic, and he recently won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor for Bridge of Spies. But
and Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy, you know, he plays a soldier, you know, so we'll say. So this movie was just an all-around really solid war film. Really enjoyed the heck out of it. If I have a quibble with it, is I wish we just had conversation or a scene between soldiers, because there's not really much to chew on when it comes to characterization. You know, you can't really get into the head of one of these guys. You don't know what they're really thinking, because there's really no scenes of dialogue. Because when you're in like a huge battle in a war, you know, you're with these soldiers, these guys are your brothers, and I would have liked to see a little bit more camaraderie between the group, so you have like a character to fall back on and to like root for. Because if I have an issue is I really didn't care much about what was going on, because I couldn't really relate or feel for a character other than the fact that he's obviously fighting the Germans. But yeah, I just want a little bit more dialogue, if you will.
You wanted more depth to the characters, where
100%. Short, long story short. Yeah.
You wanted more depth to the characters, and I can see why people would want that, but for me, that didn't bother me at all. I know that the story is more about the event that unfolded, and it's about the soldiers as a whole. It's not about any one particular soldier. Like, we do have the soldier in the beginning of the movie that you see, and we actually kind of, on the one timeline, we're kind of following him and who he comes across and everything, but you don't really ever get attached to him, because one, he's not really talking too much, and 2, we don't know anything about him. So I can see
Exactly.
what you mean, but that didn't bother me. It didn't bother me at all. I know it is, and I've seen a few reviews where it does bother people, but...
I just wish I cared a little bit more. As beautiful looking and as loud as it was, I didn't really care. It was just beautifully done film, but I wish I was a little bit more invested in it. And I mean, one character that I rooted for was Tom Hardy, because it's Tom Hardy. We know, you know, oh, the darkness. You know, I love Tom Hardy, so... You know, you root for him, and I loved him in this. He was probably my favorite.
Well, I think on every timeline you have somebody who you're kind of rooting for, you just don't know anything about them.
I know.
You know, and I just think that overall, for me, the movie was almost perfect. I didn't really come out of the film saying, oh, I wanted more of this.
Yeah.
I think for me...
Once I heard this film was going to be PG-13, I was kind of iffy about it, just because... I feel like a war film in World War II, I mean, feel like it's gotta be R. For me, anyway, you gotta see some blood, man. You gotta see some blood and, like...
You wanted to see limbs flying off.
I wanted to see Hacksaw Ridge.
Hacksaw Ridge.
You know, I mean,
No.
legs flying everywhere. Just because it's war, and that's war. You know, nightmare of war. But, I mean, this is obviously...
This is more of the emotional aspects of war. It's not so much the physical aspects.
Yeah, that's true. For it being PG-13, it didn't affect it one bit. You know, it's just my preference would for it to be R, but it definitely didn't really affect the storyline one smidge. So yeah, overall we got a very loud, a very intense, you know, edge of your seat kind of film, and definitely recommend you check it out. Christopher Nolan, he makes another solid film. I mean, the guy just keeps consistently putting out good movies. Overall,
one of the best films I've seen of the year. I mean, we've had a lot of good movies this year.
So what would you grade this?
I am giving it an A+.
I'll go B+, just because, like I said before, everything looks great, everything sounds great, but it was just, things were happening, and I was like, oh, wow, that really sucks. But, alright guys, that is our take on Dunkirk. Thanks so much for checking out this video as always.
Give this video a big thumbs up, like, comment, and subscribe.
And we'll see you guys later.